Oh, the final story is gonna be a bitch in the hell.
Yep.
I'm
So
ready.
you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Next. New report says Concord cost $400 million to make. Okay, I do have a question. How much did it would it have cost? How much less would it have cost if you didn't hire hookers and blow and have all that stuff in the boardrooms?
Best for everyone, especially for everyone.
It seemed obvious that Sony was going to take a huge loss on Concord, given its high cost, immediately disastrous player count, and unprecedented shutdown. But it may be even worse than everyone thought. A new report from Sacred Symbols, Colin Moriarty, citing a source that worked on Concord, claims that the game had a higher budget than anyone envisioned, a full $400 million broken up into two halves of development. You catch this video below, but I'll have a summary beneath that. So we'll just watch the summary or read the summary. Um, like I said, how much blow did they have in the boardrooms? How many hookers did they have? How long were they paying the hookers? Were they paying them by the hour? Um, how do you spend $400 million to make a game?
Don't forget the KY jelly.
Don't forget, Grand Theft Auto 5 at the most expensive was $250 million to make.
Oh yeah.
So how? I'm telling you, it was some drug orgy binge. What
I,
happened?
I think Mark Zuckerberg was invited to that party, and he just gave everyone like everything at that moment.
Before the game hit alpha state, they'd already spent $200 million on it. Unclear how much from original owner's investor and how much is from Sony. After that, from the 2021 to the 2024 launch, Sony spent another $200 million on it. The game was in a laughable shape when it was shown in the alpha state, so Sony felt like they needed to spend that much to get it to minimal viable product status. Maybe you should have spent the other $200 million, the first half of it, more responsibly. Again, we're talking about money that could have that doubles the high end of Grand Theft Auto 5's budget.
Oh yeah.
A major expense was needing to outsource much of the game to other studios. In Quarter 1 2023, some aspects of the game had not been worked on at all, like onboarding and monetization. I'd say this may explain the price and no battle passes more than some conscious noble decision to change the model. Also, how bad the earned cosmetics were. Ongoing costs to maintain game would be additional millions a month. Concord is the biggest budget game Sony has ever released, the biggest loss they've ever taken. There are other games being worked on at Sony that cost more than this. That cost more? That cost more than this, but in terms of what's already out, this is the largest. It's a total loss. Why did it happen? Concord was said to be the future of PlayStation. They said it was a Star Wars like project. There were big multimedia plans between the cinematics and inclusion in things like Amazon's Secret Level. There was a culture of toxic positivity vibe where you could not say anything negative internally about the game, character designs, etc. No one was allowed to meaningfully change the course of the game. This was CEO of Sony Interactive Herman Hulse-Baby, who was a massive champion of the game. Some of this still seems so strange, budget aside, as given AAA bloat these days. I can believe that. But how do you look at a game in a laughable state in alpha 2 years ago, scramble to outsource work to get it finished, and still believe it's the future of PlayStation and a potential Star Wars like property? Star Wars comparisons are always a tall order. We heard that said about the goal of Bungie's Destiny back in the day. But Destiny succeeded and has lasted for 10 years. Concord lasted 2 weeks. I guess this is the toxic positivity which has been confirmed by other sources, where even if that sounds ridiculous, you can't say that, especially if this was a game cradled by the entire head of Sony Interactive. I'd argue putting this much faith in a game that bad is almost fully disqualifying for that role. The head of Firewalk has already stepped down, and it seems close to impossible the team survives, either dissolved into other studios or shut down entirely. This is arguably the biggest video game disaster in history by financial loss, and there needs to be someone held responsible. It should not be the rank and file workers in this situation. So is so there's no comments. Um, so what do you think of Concord debacle?
Well, I have to say, at first I was like, okay, $100 million was lost. Obviously, no big deal, but it's like it's a hefty penny to be spent to be risking it. But now 400 million, that's one of the biggest budgets of any game I ever heard of in my life as a game viewer, as a gamer slash consumer, because the last, like you said, well, GTA 5, it was like 250 million to make back in 2013.
On the high end, there were GTA. Not to interrupt, I just wanted to give you more clarity from what I've heard.
Okay,
GTA 5 on the low end, it was 165 million dollars to make. On the
okay,
high end, it was 250 million. So it was somewhere in there.
right, of
I
course.
was just taking 250 million because that was the highest amount I heard that it cost to make Grand Theft Auto 5.
Okay. But yeah, my
Go
friend,
on.
it's a hindrance now to Sony because you can't make that shit up anymore with that kind of money anymore in today's world anymore for Sony. That is mean that like $400 million. That's a lot of money to be wasted. I'm very surprised there's no one got killed over this shit and going Agent 47 on any major player, or any major worker or whatever, because some heads got to roll at this rate. From all that loss. I guarantee myself, if I was like ahead of any gaming company, and I saw $400 million wasted on one risky IP that looks very like carbon copy and all, I would probably want to get someone prosecuted for this thievery, fraud, or whatever you call it. Others where I want to go Agent 47, but that's not my approach every 24/7 all times. But stuff like that. But on a serious note, though, it's yeah, like $400 million. God damn, that's a lot of money to be spent on one IP of like Concord. I can understand like Mario or Zelda, to try to make it change the state of the gameplay, like they did with Halo 5 and all back for the Halo franchise, or even Halo Infinite, where they spent about 500 million, or was it $50 million, $500 million, something. It was something like that. It was crazy amount of money that of Halo Infinite was wasted on that game. But Concord, this is like a new IP altogether. And Sony, I hear that Sony was willing to risk it all for the Concord. It was that crazy of them to think like that. It's unfathomable that we spend the kind of money on one franchise that's unknown to most people. You know?
Yeah, I mean, we now, and this also brings up something else. Game publishers say, "Well, games cost so much more to make." Well, okay, start spending that money more efficiently.
Yep.
Maybe game publishers' bonuses or games publishers' executive bosses, their bonuses should not be so guaranteed. It should be conditioned on the success of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that would actually free up some money. Maybe and maybe you should actually spend the money on making the game because, like I said, you cannot convince me $400 million was made to make $400 million was made to make Concord. I'm sorry, I don't buy that.
It's whether it
Uh,
was Batman or Sonic or something. I can't understand that matter to make it very
Not
risky
even
taking
because,
more. You
but
know?
not even because I mean, if you got to make games smaller and then like add like DLC episodes and stuff, I'd rather that than game publishers going, well, games cost so much more to make today.
Yeah.
No, games cost so much more to make today because you have no idea who knows how to run a business ledger. That's why games cost so much more to make. You have games in a laughable state after you spent $200 million on it. How do you blow through a Grand Theft Auto 5's type of budget and your game's in a laughable state?
And it's not even a well
Heads should
mentioned
be rolling
title
back
or
then.
IP. Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I don't ever want to hear a publisher ever again say, "Well, games cost so much more to make. Well, maybe you should be spending that money more responsibly."
Damn straight. Yeah. It's I don't. I mean, I understand that you want to avoid conflict as much as possible by spending more money, but that's not the case in these times of hard times as in this economy, especially because you're competing with every gamer's wallet as well as their attention to your game as well too. So I mean, games like Apex Legends and Fortnite going up against, you got the Yeah, I make sure that that game Concord is the best it could be, and obviously they didn't put that kind of effort in like that. It was not really their suitable interest to think about the long term of gaming. They think about the short term. They make like $500 billion, whatever the case is, to Concord. That's about it. Not about the longevity. Not about creativity and consistency of that creativity. So.
Yeah.
And the
So I
Concord
mean,
was $40 to spend too. It wasn't for free to play like Apex or Fortnite. Stupid on
yeah,
them too.
yeah. No one was going to spend. I didn't even see. And you want to talk about spending money on a game to make a game? I don't remember any promotion about Concord.
Unless you watch
It,
the trailers from like 2 months ago during the summer season.
but I'm saying, like, there were commercials. There were no commercials, so people who missed those trailers,
Yeah,
they were never going to know about Concord until it became the flop that it did.
yeah. They did put a lot of marketing into it though. That's the thing that's screwed up on their part. They said they put marketing, that kind of marketing into that game. That's
Yeah,
another bloat too in that matter.
yeah. So, like I said, Concord, I never want to hear publishers say a game costs too much to make, because if you can spend $400 million on that and that be the end result, then there's something wrong with your spending, not
Mm-hmm.
with people not willing to pay enough.
Yeah, when's bad Ben Affleck in the movie The Accountant when you need him? Because that movie showed a lot about of a and the actual accountant trying to help out the cartel and shit like that, and killing a few people at the same time doing the numbers in your head. I'm like, you know, we need something like that in our fucking industry now because to cleanse the system. Because what's going on here? I can see that the accountant doing a sniper shot on, like, goodness knows who at this rate. Because good movie and all, but damn, it's going to happen in fruition at this rate.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a
So
lot of money right there. I'm sorry if I'm baffled still or overzealous of that $400 million situation. It's just that I can't. That's a lot of money to be dealing with, and I don't want to be a part of that shit. And and things start to sink. That's what I don't understand about these major players. They think like, oh, let's give Concord to a small studio. Well, it's not that small studio to begin with. They've been around for what, for a few years or whatever. They dedicated 8 years to that game specifically. That's how screwed up this situation is. You know?
yeah. So I mean, and the thing is, you really, I mean, because like I said, I really can't even figure out where the game went. The game had fictional characters, so there was no people that you were paying to use their likeness. So it's not like the game went to a huge roster of characters because all the characters were made up.
Yep.
Again, where did that money go? I'm telling you, I would not be surprised if the conference rooms of when it came to these games were full of bloating strippers
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
prostitutes
I can
and
s-
and everything.
I can sense that movie Manator with Pierce Brosnan in it, where that scene in the beginning of the movie where he used the card to blow up with his device and all. I can't imagine if they're gonna do something like this in real life with one of these major players involved, because something's got to give with this type of not movement, but the type of action acquired to fix the system internally. At least best that.
Yeah, and these are the games that they want people to pay more than $70 for. Keep in mind, these are
seventy
the games that
dollars
publishers want. Saying customers should pay 80, 90, $100 or even more for these games.
or pay both per bullet or some shit like that here from
Yeah.
that one official. I forgot his name though, but yeah, he talked about saying like he wants to sell each customer each bullets or whatever per cent or whatever the case is. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Imagine Grand Theft Auto. Imagine playing Grand Theft Auto 3 back in the day, and you go to ammunition, and you want to buy, more guns, more ammo, and then you have to like uh, put the charges on a real life debit card.
Yeah, especially if it's a parent's debit card to some child, like, mommy, I want to buy 100 bullets for about $5 per order, please. And okay, dear, you can put $5 down, then all of a sudden your son charges like $100 for like 1,000 bullets or whatever, some
Yeah,
shit like that.
yeah, yeah. That's even a bigger can of worms because, and you can't blame little kids because they don't know, you know, the value of money because they're little. But at the same time, you also shouldn't have the card access so accessible on a game console.
And they teach these kids too the money in school because we were in school when we were at kindergarten into first, second, third grade. They taught us about how to handle money and all. It's just that they haven't teach these kids about the power and handling of money and all. It's not just the parents' fault at the same time, but it's like, the game industry, the parents' oversight of these young gamers and all. It's a one big kerfuffle to a point that it's going to collapse eventually. And this game collapse is called, or the what's it called, the collapse of the game industry like there was in 1980s and all before Nintendo
Yeah.
came around. It's gonna happen like that one day, since not this decade, in my opinion.
I think it's going to happen, but I think it's going to be mostly major AAA studios. I
Right.
think I think like independent game developers will be fine. I think even some like AA game studios will be fine. It's basically the AAA studios that think they can do no wrong, including Ubisoft in their quadruple A game.
Oh yeah.
How'd that work out?
Oh yeah.
That I think we might be headed towards another video game crash, but it's gonna be not all games like in 1983. It's gonna be the triple A names that everyone knows
Oh yeah.
because people are gonna be like, Ubisoft can't do it anymore, EA can't do it anymore, um, Sony can't do it anymore, Microsoft can't do it anymore. Sony's not making games. Microsoft can't do it anymore. Why am I still buying games?
Yep. Yeah.
You know,
Support independent small studios that make good games. That's our rate. That's our current trend we should do right now.
Yeah. So, like I said, I don't. If there is another video game crash, which I'm actually more open to the idea that actually might be a good thing,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just going to be the big developers that should know better. And when I say should know better, I'm talking about the executives at these studios, the executives that should know better but don't do better.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Anything else, Dad, or is that ready to close it up for tonight?
We can sum up the matter. No problem. I'm ready to move on.
All right. Well, that was the last story for tonight. Um, So I hope you enjoyed this. This was episode 107 of the Let's Discuss Gaming podcast. Triple J, Triple J, Doctor Games 101. Do you have any plans for tomorrow?
Not like as always. Not tomorrow specifically. Maybe, but I can see doing more Cyberpunk 2077 gameplay. But I'll plan on trying to do an actual gameplay of Return. It's called. I'm trying to set up a laptop for the recording of that particular session because my computer currently, my desktop PC is currently like croaked. I extracted the data of the SSD drive from the computer to recover it later on. So it's going to be at least a few months later. I have to wait for a better PC to come in, and then I can resume the proper gameplay of online gameplay with you guys if I can. If not, then I'll sit with my laptop to play with you guys. Just do small sessions of gameplay because it's a very limited featured laptop. So
Okay. I do have Batman: The Brave and the Bold that came yesterday for the
okay,
Wii. So I'm probably going to be starting over in that game to play it on stream sometime Sunday. I did get some NES games for the store. I got that arrived today. Um, yeah, so I'm probably going to be doing, if anything, I'm probably going to be doing a stream of Batman: The Brave and the Bold for the Wii tomorrow on my Wii U. I
all
just got to
right,
get batteries for my Wiimotes. Um, yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this. Follow me if you did. Also check out our YouTube channels. And until next time, which is, let's see what date episode 108 will be on. That'll be October 5th. So until next time, good night, everyone.
there, guys.